What is going on, everybody? It is Dylan with Dasher DFS, and in today's video, I'm doing the NFC West Fantasy 2026 offseason outlook. This is kind of just a, what to look forward to if you're a fan of this team, what you have going forward if you're a fantasy owner of some of the guys on this team, and see what they have. So, starting off with Seattle Seahawks, Super Bowl champs. They won the Super Bowl, so that's what you kind of go for, and you just try to figure out how to keep that momentum going, keep that championship roster competitive for years and years. So, getting into it, Sam Darnold's still your quarterback. I think you're pretty satisfied if you're a Seahawks fan with the result that you got out of Sam Darnold. Running back, as of right now, Ken Walker is scheduled to be a free agent. So you have Zach Charbonnet, who's coming off a major injury. Don't know when he's going to be back for this team. And then you got Kenny McIntosh and Cam Akers as your two running backs behind that. Wide receiver, you got JSN, Cooper Kupp, and Torrey Horton. Totally fine with this wide receiver room going forward. I don't think you have to bring in another wide receiver. If you want to bring in maybe a depth piece, I'm okay with that. Given Torrey Horton's kind of injury status throughout college and now his first year in the pros, I'm okay with that. At tight end, I think you're very solid in both AJ Bardner and Elijah Arroyo. Both those guys solid tight ends. Only 4 draft picks in this upcoming class. $63 million in cap space. Only 483 dead cap. So pretty good as far as a money wise for a team that just won the Super Bowl. Obviously, there are a lot of guys that need to get paid offensively and defensively. So that's where a lot of that money is going to go, is keeping a lot of those guys in-house, not letting them leave. Man, I see a lot of talk of people saying that the Seahawks shouldn't go back after Ken Walker, but for what Ken Walker did for that team in the playoffs, I think it's pretty hard to not go back to Ken Walker. Like I said, we don't know what Zach Charbonnet's status is going to be. When he's going to be back, what he looks like when he does come back. So you're going to need a running back added to this running back room. These Kenny McIntosh and Cam Akers, both those guys are not reliable guys to be your running back too. So I do think the Seahawks are either going to bring back Ken Walker or bring somebody else in. But if I was a Seahawks fan, I would want, for what Ken Walker just did for the team, I would want Kenneth Walker back. Other than that, solid. I don't think the Seahawks have a lot. If you're a Seahawks fan looking for a lot of splashes, I don't think you need any. I think you're totally satisfied with this offense. Obviously, if you can upgrade and it doesn't cost your team future capital or future money, a substantial amount of money, I'm okay with this team. Obviously, JSN needs to get paid. You're paying Cooper Kupp, and I liked what Torrey Horton did for the team. Shaheed obviously is going to be a free agent, but Shaheed wasn't much of an impact offensively for this team. There was a few plays here and there, but he was more of a special teams guy, and it did benefit the Seahawks in the season. And then, AJ Bardner and Elijah Arroyo, both those guys solid. So if I'm a Seahawks fan, I am totally satisfied, or a dynasty owner, fantasy manager going into next season, I'm perfectly fine of having a similar situation next season as well. Moving on to the Los Angeles Rams, Matthew Stafford is back again. He already confirmed it. Kyren Williams, Blake Corum, Jarquez Hunter are your running backs. And again, I can't really see them adding anybody to this running back room. I feel like they're pretty confident in their 3 running backs they have. Wide receiver, Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams, and I put in Jordan Winnington. Don't know who they're going to add on to that wide receiver room, but with Devontae Adams getting up there in age, someone like a Matthew Stafford also up there in age, sooner or later they're going to have to bring in some younger guys to replace them once they end up retiring. Obviously, Devontae Adams probably got a couple more years left. Matthew Stafford apparently wants to play longer. We'll see what that looks like. But I can't see Stafford staying, more than 2 years at that. So as of right now, this lineup solid. And Terrence Ferguson, Davis Allen, Kobe Parkinson, I think if you're a Rams fan, you like Tyler Higbee. He was great for what he did. I don't see them re-signing him. I think you roll with Terrence Ferguson and Kobe Parkinson. Davis Allen would be kind of for the 3 tight end sets. They ran quite a bit when Devontae Adams or Puka Nacua were hurt. They ran a lot of 3 tight end sets during that time. 11 draft picks for the Rams, 2 first-round picks, one of them being the Falcons' first-round pick, $40 million in cap space, Only $6 million in dead cap. So the Rams are also in a really good spot heading into next season. They have some guys right here that need to get paid. There's a few defensive players, and I think the offensive line definitely could use probably some upgrading. So interested to see what the Rams kind of do. I don't see them quarterback. I don't see a running back. I don't see a tight end. If they're addressing something in the offseason, it would be wide receiver. And even then, it's not going to be it shouldn't be at least a big name wide receiver. The way they run their offense, they run a lot of 2 tight end sets, even if it's not a 3 tight end. They run a lot of 2 tight end sets. They're very confident and comfortable in Terrence Ferguson, Davis Allen, Kobe Parkinson, Tyler Higbee when he was there. They were very confident in rolling out 2 to 3 tight end sets, making sure the run game was good for the Rams. So, yeah, I think this division is in a very healthy spot to be a competitive division. At that top tier of competitive divisions too. Like the NFC South is a complete different, where those guys, whoever's probably positive record at the end is going to make the playoffs. This division is totally different, right? We have a stacked division of talent, both player wise and coaching staff wise. So the Rams are another team where I don't see a lot of moves fantasy wise going forward. Like I said, the wide receiver is probably the only position I could see them address in the offseason. Now going to the 49ers, where this one we start to get different. At quarterback, I put in both Brock Purdy and Mac Jones because Mac Jones is still on the roster. He could easily become a trade candidate for a team if they don't get what they want out of the draft or free agency. And go with someone like a Mac Jones who had success both on the Jaguars and 49ers. So I think Mac Jones is a pretty good trade candidate. And if the team is not going to give the 49ers what they feel is enough draft capital for Mac Jones, they're going to keep him on the roster because Brock Purdy's had some injuries. This team has had a lot of injuries. So having a very confident, comfortable quarterback as a backup quarterback is very good in the league. It's a very good insurance policy. Running back right now, it is CMC and Isaac Guerrero. Very, very satisfied with this duo. Just going off of how 49ers draft. If you're a 49ers fan, you know how it is. If you're a dynasty manager, you know how the 49ers are. They continue to draft running backs later in the draft. That is what they are notorious for. They have a really, really, if you know their scouting staff and an advisor for them, you know they have an eye for talent for the running back position. So easily see the 49ers drafting a running back late, or with some of the names in free agency, attacking the free agent market, bringing in another cheap running back. At the wide receiver position, this is where you're going to need to solve a problem. Brandon Ayuk is, from what everything the 49ers have said, Brandon Ayuk has said he is no longer a 49er. He's on their payroll right now, but he is no longer a 49er. Ricky Pearsall, Demarcus Robinson is the next other name for that wide receiver room, but Ricky Pearsall is their guy. Going forward, George Kittle hinted at a possible Deebo Samuel return. We'll see what that kind of looks like. But for the 49ers, I think it's very simple. You just lost Robert Saleh. With what they had talent-wise at the end of the season, what that defense was able to do with what they had, I think was special. The 49ers obviously have some offensive line issues to address. They have a lot of defensive holes to fill. So I expect the 49ers to, yes, they are going to bring in another wide receiver. They're not going to roll out with Ricky Pearsall, Demarcus Robinson, and maybe, a day 2 hopeful draft pick. I could see them easily bring in a veteran wide receiver for this offense. Someone to kind of elevate Ricky Pearsall, and hopefully Ricky Pearsall is healthy and he gets an opportunity, right? Not saying he is, but gets an opportunity to be the wide receiver 1 for this team. And then, George Kittle, Luke Farrell, you're solid at tight end there. Tongas is a free agent right now, so we'll see if they bring him back. I doubt it. They're paying Luke Farrell quite a bit of money, so I think they're going to roll with these two, possibly draft another one for a cheap deal, because the 49ers are going to have to continue to hit in the draft to keep this roster competitive based off who they have. Draft capital, 7 picks, no second or fourth, I believe. Just to double check, I might have gotten that wrong. So yeah, might have gotten that wrong as far as that, but um, yeah, 7 picks in the draft, $22 million in cap space, $36 million in dead cap, and they're going to have to get rid of Brandon Ayuk one way or another. So, for the 49ers, you're definitely bringing in a wide receiver. Running back, probably doing what you've done, draft a late running back. Tight end, if they bring in somebody, it's going to be a very cheap deal, or they're going to draft a younger tight end. So, um, 49ers, yet again, they have a really good coaching staff. They have a really good core, right? Especially defensively. They have a good core defensively. They have a good core offensively in Brock Purdy, CMC, George Kittle, like a solid 3 to go off of. Hopefully, Ricky Pearsall takes a step forward, and hopefully, you bring in the right person to, help Ricky Pearsall. So, moving on, last but not least, this one is going to be the most interesting one in the division, in my opinion, is going to be the Arizona Cardinals. New coaching staff. Don't know how we feel about Kyler Murray yet, but Kyler Murray, as of right now, is under contract. So is Jacoby Brissett, who did play some damn good football when Kyler Murray was out. James Conner is still on the payroll. Trey Benson, hopefully he's healthy. Hopefully we get to see him, but it's still James Conner, Trey Benson. Wide receiver, Marvin Harrison Jr., Michael Wilson are pretty much the two left in that wide receiver room. So I think it's a solid 2. I've been a big Michael Wilson fan since he got drafted to this team. Unfortunately, just hasn't had the chance or the right play calling to really get to see what Michael Wilson was until last season. And then we saw Michael Wilson exceed my expectations. I just hoped he put out a game or two that was good. He looked like a wide receiver 1. I'm going to be honest. He looked like a wide receiver 1. It might not have been a true wide receiver 1, and he was getting pampered with targets, sure, but he looked damn good when Marvin Harrison Jr. was out. And tight end Trey McBride and Elijah Higgins, all 7 of their draft picks. $34 million cap space, $4 million in dead cap. So outside of the 49ers, I mean, these teams done a really good job. 63, less than $1 million in dead cap. 40 million, $6 million in dead cap. I mean, that's not bad at all. 49ers 22 and 36, but then the Cardinals 34 and 4, and some things can happen. I'm interested to see what the Cardinals do quarterback wise, right? New coaching staff, maybe they want to give Kyler Murray one more opportunity. It's a new coaching staff, right? If they trade him, are they willing to eat that dead cap? Are they willing to just tank this year? I mean, you still have a really solid young group. If Kyler can just get his stuff together, have a really good connection with the coaching staff, and get things on the same page with his pass catchers, you still have a young team, right? It's a very tough competitive division, and it's really hard to win this division. A wild card is not out of the picture for these teams. It's really not. So you could be competitive. You have a young wide receiver duo in Marvin Harrison, Michael Wilson, a young superstar tight end in Trey McBride, James Conner and Trey Benson, I think are a solid running back room to have. So I think the Cardinals, depending on what they do at quarterback, could be interesting. If they move away from Kyler, I would expect them to kind of be in a rebuild type of situation with a young team, hopefully building into the next draft of bringing in, a quarterback from as of right now, it looks like a way better quarterback class than this 26 class. So, but looking at what they might bring in, they could bring in another wide receiver, right? I think defense is probably going to be a priority, probably address some offensive line issues as well. But I think it's very realistic they bring in somebody at the wide receiver position in the draft, or yet again, free agency. And when I say this, and I don't name a player, it's just because I don't want to predict or do anything like that yet. Still have the franchise tag. That usually dictates a lot of moves going into free agency. So I don't want to get ahead of myself and predict and do anything like that. But yes, there's a lot of names that they could bring in at the wide receiver position in the draft or in free agency that could definitely help this offense if they want to run it back with Kyler Murray one more season. So Definitely could see that. So this division, yet again, I think of all the NFC divisions, I think this is probably the toughest one. I mean, the NFC North is also very highly up there as well when you consider the coaching staff in the NFC North. If the Vikings had a confident quarterback, I'd easily put the NFC North over the West. But when you consider they have the Super Bowl champ, the team that faced him in the conference, the team that faced him in the divisional, yes, the divisional, because the Seahawks had the bye. So yes, I think this division is tougher than the NFC North, but it's very close. It's still a tough division, and it all depends. Like Arizona Cardinals and right now the Minnesota Vikings are the two that are kind of in that same tier as the bottom teams. But if either one can boost that division, I'd put them ahead of the other. So, yet again, thank you guys for watching. We'll have the AFC videos going out next week. So if you guys are interested in those, check those out. The other three divisions in the NFC have been posted, so check those out as well. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.